Ecclesiastes 9:10 says, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest." Our lesson here on the on using social media for the glory of God. Of course, we have to mention the dangers of social media, which we've kind of covered a little bit already. We looked at introduction to Facebook. We talked about how Facebook works and all that. But now I want to take a moment to just kind of talk about what can you actually do with it to bring glory to God. Of course, we have to talk about what it is and how it works to kind of be able to know what you can do to bring glory to God. Well, first of all, I would say that what you say on there, like I've already said, you have to be understanding that what you're saying on there is on any social media site is going to be just like if you walked up to someone and said it to them. Except the difference is social media has a platform. So if you imagine it this way, when you get on your Facebook page, it's like you just walked up onto the platform here, and all of your friends are sitting in the audience. And when you type something or you do a video or a picture, it's like you're standing up here and you're showing everybody. You're presenting that to your friends. Now, if you have your settings set where it like shares it publicly, then you're presenting it to your friends and anybody else that may stumble across your page. If your settings are set to where it just shows it to your friends, then that's how that works. Now, if you do a Facebook Live Messenger, which I've been trying to do a few of those each week, those are always public. They're always public when they're live, okay? At least the way I understand it, they are. So you may have people that live in the area that you're doing the video, and they watch, and there's actually I had a few friend requests just from the Facebook Live messages because somebody saw the video and then sent a friend request. So there's that, and then you have but once you post it, like after you're done with the video, it has the option to post it. It'll say, do you want to post this? Do you want to just not post it? So the only people that will actually see it are the people that saw it live. And then you can post it where it'll actually go on your page, and then they see it, that people can come back and look at it later. You can actually, I believe, you can set the settings to be, live or not live or what, So, I'm sorry, public or friends of friends or specific audience. What's that? Right. You can if you have a certain set of audience settings, which I think I showed before. What's that? Yeah. If you go to your page here, like where I've got friends here, I reached 900. Wow. Blah, 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 blah. More. So, nope, it's sections. Message thing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so right here, public, you have your options. And so, like, it sets up these little groups automatically based on things that you have. Like these are either schools or jobs or other or companies or churches or whatever. So I've got some where I've got like family, and then like people at our church, and then my high school. There's Good News Ministries. I've got a group where those, well, I think that's like people that have worked there or whatever, but that's when I worked there. I had it set up that way. Indiana Guard Reserve. So if I attach all the different people, see, theoretically, if I actually like kept this up, then everybody in my family would be under family. Everybody everybody that's associated with the church would be under church. So, I don't keep it up. So if somebody has, like, say they work at Good News Ministries, then they'll automatically go in that group. If they If they're on in the Fountain Square Baptist Church like group, then I think they go in that group automatically. So otherwise, I can go to that person's page. See here. So like I can go to here. Who do I want to mess with right now? I'm gonna mess with Travis. Page clean, brother. Uh-oh. There we go. So I can go here to friends. See how the little drop down here? I said your page, not your face. Your Facebook page. So I can put in close friends, acquaintances, or add to another list. Oh, there's that thing I was telling you about. Suggest friends. When you go to somebody's page, like if you go to my Facebook page, I think you have to go on the computer too. But if you put the drop down on friends, or put your mouse on friends, it drops down. It says get notifications, close friends, acquaintances, add to another list, suggest friends, or unfriend. So like I'll show you that. This is how you can help other brothers like Brother Travis to reach people on your own friends list. So you could say suggest friends, and then I can go in here and I can select, hey, I can suggest that he becomes friends with Travis Inman, his other account. But I can suggest like Rob Horton, or my mom, and what happens when you do that is he'll get a notification saying, hey, Aaron Campbell gave you or suggested that you become friends with Rob Horton. And then Rob Horton will get a suggestion or a notification saying the same thing, that I suggested that he become friends with Travis. So same thing with each one that I check there. And I could go down if I wanted to like check, add, or suggest friend with like all 900 of my friends, then I could, maybe spread his reach out into my friends or something. But anyways, the reason that I went here wasn't for that. It was more for, we can add them to another list, so I can add them to Fountain Square Baptist. There's two different Fountain Square Baptists here. We'll add them to both of them. There we go. Add the list. See? And then I can add them to Foundation Ministries. So that's an example there. So what? I don't know. Anyways. Sometimes it'll give you that suggestion yourself, like when you accept their friend request, it'll have a pop-up and say, hey, this person doesn't have very many friends. Why don't you introduce them to some of your friends? And then you can suggest that way. So so that's one way to do it. Anyways, so I wanted to show that. And then, so what can we do? What can we do to reach people? First of all, again, keep in mind that this right here is a platform. When you click here and you get ready to type something, what you're doing is exactly what I'm doing right now. You are typing. I typed hello. Now who can see that? Anybody that looks up here, right? So I'm using my platform. This isn't my platform. This is the Lord's platform, but I'm using the platform that the Lord's given me, which is physically right here, but digitally it's projected onto the wall. But if I click post, then right now it's set to public. Anybody in the world, that's why that little globe's there, anybody in the world that wants to know that I said hello can see that I said hello. Anybody. So whenever you say something, know that when you say it, this is your audience. Okay, so if I just want to make the audience, again, like we were talking, say I just want to make the audience, let's just say, let's pretend that when I click Fountain Square Baptist Church, only the people in this room see it. Okay, so if that's my audience and I click that, well, that's it. That's the audience. Now let's say I want to expand my audience to, people around here. Used to be you could click, you could select like I think you can on public figure pages. You can do just certain area or whatever, but or custom here. So I could say, let's share it with Fountain Square Baptist Church and friends of friends. Or I could say, how about, okay, I don't want Travis to see this one. You know, I can specifically say that a specific person can't see this post. So let's say we're planning like a surprise birthday party for Travis. And so I'm posting so that everybody else can see it, but he can't see it. So I can actually, as long as nobody tags him on it, I can actually post this and everybody else can see it and he can't. So we can be talking about Travis and nobody knows except, or everybody knows except Travis. What's that? Yeah, because he's actually right there. But it does say anyone you include on your restricted list won't be able to see this post unless you tag them. Says we don't let people know when you choose not to share something with them. So he won't even know that it's hidden from him. So, you know, there are reasons that you would do that. Sometimes you may say, okay, I'm about to post something that I don't want to argue with a certain person about. Say you know somebody on your friends list is just going to try to argue with you about it. So you go on there to custom and you say, don't let them see it. Easy enough. Unless you want to argue with them. I personally don't. I use Facebook to reach people, but I don't use Facebook to argue with people. I mean, there may be a little bit of discussion back and forth, but when it becomes an argument, I mean, I've had on my live videos, I've had a couple of atheists like get on there and post like long little, I guess you'd call it a rant. It's not a sermon, but an anti-sermon basically. And I just block them. Like, I know it's a public thing. Sorry, you're not going to use my platform to push your agenda. And so it's kind of like, you know, if I say, and here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about your platform. So you're on the platform. Here's your audience. So I'm careful. I have a lot of people ask me to come speak or sing or whatever at church here. And God's made me responsible of this platform and the audience. So if I were just, whoever wants to come in, you know, they say they're a Christian, they can come on in and you know, they can preach here. The problem is what I've done is I've taken the platform that God's given me and I've been irresponsible with it if I'm not careful to protect the audience that God's given me to grow. So specifically the members of our church. But so on social media, I'm also careful about that because this is my platform on social media. So when I speak on this platform, if someone else comes in and tries to usurp the platform to use it for their own purposes. For example, I think, Sister, you posted something for business. It was either this week or last week. And it was a thought-provoking question, and somebody else jumped onto your page and commented. And what they were trying to do, and it worked in some sense, what they were trying to do was get people that were reading your posts to go look at their page. People do that. People do that on YouTube videos. They'll go and comment. That's why I have the YouTube videos. That's why I have my YouTube account set where when people comment, I have to approve it in order for anybody else to see it. So some comments are on there that I'm just like, I'll answer you. Here's your answer. But nobody else is going to see that comment. But at the same time, I want people to comment. I want them to say things. But if they're commenting to try to use my platform as a springboard to get themselves more followers, if I don't endorse them, I'm not going to endorse them secondarily by allowing them to use my platform to get followers. Does that make sense? So how do we use this for the glory of God? First of all, we protect our own platform. Well, first of all, we have to realize that that's a platform, and that the platform, and that we have an audience, and any audience that we have, what is it that we want to share with that audience? Well, and on Facebook, usually we're sharing our life, and and we're sharing what we think is important. And so, on one side of that, we want to share the gospel with them. If you read my posts, though, you're going to find that not every single post that I post is the gospel, because I want people that are following me to know me. Although that may seem selfish or something, but it's so that they know who I am and not just know me as, oh, if I want to go get the gospel, I can go there. But they will know that if they want to get the gospel, they can go there and get the gospel. But they'll know who I am. They can see pictures of me and my family and stuff. And again, we already talked about protecting your safety and all of that on Facebook. But again, if I've accepted a friend request, then there's a purpose for that. Whatsoever my hand findeth to do, I'm going to do it with my might. And that purpose for accepting them as a friend, and whatever I do, I'm going to do for the glory of God. The purpose for accepting them as a friend is to try to reach them in some way. Our sermons from the church services all go on my Facebook page, just automatically. They go on there. All these Facebook Live messages that I do with spiritual applications, they go on there. But from time to time, I'll just put things, I'll check in somewhere, and checking in somewhere is a form of endorsement as well. And so, there's some places I'll start to check in, and then I'll see their ads, and I'm like, yeah, I wanted to endorse you. Sorry, you messed it up. So like certain restaurants I won't check in at just because of what comes up when somebody sees that I checked in there. Not that I'm hiding it from them necessarily, but the other thing is, people used to make fun of Twitter and Facebook, like it was just a thing to tell everybody what you're doing all day long. Like, oh, I walked out the door, opened the door to the car, now I'm in my car. Oh, started the engine. That's not. I mean, that's not really what it's for. Although some people do actually narrate their entire day. You'll find that, but that's what's important to them, and that's what they want to use their platform for. I don't know if that's the best use of your platform, but anyways, so some of you are on Facebook because you have family on Facebook and you want to see your children, pictures of your children. You want to see pictures of your grandchildren. You want to see your nieces and nephews and so on and so forth. That's kind of what it's there for. Actually, the purpose of Facebook is so that they can mine your data so that you can be advertised, so that they can give you advertisements so that they can pay for their services. By the way, whenever you see this thing, Facebook is going to start costing money, blah, 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 they're going to charge a fee. It's all baloney. They pay for, Facebook is paid for by the advertisers that advertise in your news feed. That's how it's paid for. They're not going to, it's not necessarily a pop-up. It's like people post it saying, starting on such and such date, Facebook is going to be $9.99 a month or something. I saw somebody did it just recently, and they say if you don't copy and post this, then or it says if you copy and post this, then they won't charge you, but if you don't copy and post it, then they will. That's baloney. Yeah. Right. I follow a guy on Twitter. He said a lot of people are going to be surprised when they get to heaven and they find out that sharing that post on Facebook didn't get them anywhere. Yeah, just because you see a graven image of what they say is Jesus, and they try to manipulate you into sharing it, saying, "Oh, if you hate God and you want God to curse you, then keep scrolling." Hey, let me tell you, keep scrolling, because that's a bunch of malarkey. Whatever that means. It's baloney. It's wrong. Well, if you like baloney, hey. So, what's that? Unfriend people. Okay. Well, we talked about that, but I'll just do a quick review on that. So that's okay. So there's two things. First of all, do you still want to reach them And is it possible to still reach them? Okay, so you don't want to see them. Then you want to just unfollow them. However, if you have somebody that is posting stuff that that you don't want to see and you don't want anybody to associate you with, then you'd unfriend them. So let's see here. Corey, is your Facebook page clean? Why doesn't anybody give me an answer? Change your settings. Corey Summers. Find out. Okay, I'm going to unfriend Corey. I'm just kidding. So here, see where it says this here? You can just go there and hit unfriend. I'm not going to unfriend Corey. All right, not right now anyways. I'm just kidding. So you just go to unfriend, or over here where it says follow, if you just don't want to see what they're saying, but you want them to see what you're saying, and you don't mind necessarily being associated, it's okay that, because everybody does, there's some things that, people realize, hey, you're friends with that person, you don't agree with everything they post. That's understandable. But then if people are posting like pornography or something, then, then you need to change your settings. I can show you how. But you can go down here and unfollow, and then you won't see the stuff that they post. But if they're posting stuff that you don't want to be associated with at all, then you would unfriend them. You go to that. You can do that as well. Well, if you unfollow, that it'll automatically do that. But then somebody added me as a friend last night. I didn't know them. What I started doing now, if I don't know them, and they don't have, some of them I just say no out the gate, like especially if it's a woman dressed immodestly and I don't know them. No, just no. Then so if it's somebody that I don't know, but maybe there's a mutual friend somewhere, or maybe there's some possibility that I know them, I'll go ahead and accept their friend request, and then just take a mental note of the person's name, and take give it a couple days, see what they're posting. Some people automatically, there's somebody, some college student in California that added me last night, and I immediately got like a private message from them, like right after I accepted the friend request, and it said hello, and I said, do I know you? First question I asked. If I get a text message from somebody that I don't know, and it doesn't seem like they know, like, if it's like, hey, pastor, you're going to pick me up from church, I might say, yeah, sure, who is this, But if it's like, how you doing today? Doing well. Who is this? So the difference is on Facebook, you got a name and a picture, and, and you can go look at their profile and see what it is. Well, so I just basically started sharing the gospel with them, and the next thing I know, it said, you can no longer view this message. And I was like, that's interesting. So evidently this person also added other friends, and somebody said, this isn't a real account, it's spam. And so they blocked them, and so easy. Yes. This person right here, right there, thank you for accepting my friend request. How'd they do that? I don't know. It didn't ask me to accept it. It didn't. I mean, I can delete it, but it's just a thank you. That's fine. Okay. Well, yeah, it happens as well. So sometimes that stuff happens. There is another fix, which I've contemplated doing, but I like when you can actually set it to where nobody can post on your timeline at all. But then, like, if somebody wants to say happy birthday, they can't. So it's kind of I don't know. It depends. If my friends list grows a bit more, and I can't, you know, can't keep this stuff from happening, then I'll just switch it where nobody can post anything on my timeline. So if they want to say something to me directly, they can just send it in a private message. So, but anyways, so that's so okay. So you asked about unfriending. Does that answer your question? Okay. So you want to use your platform for the glory of God. Okay. So considering, first of all, it is a platform, and you have an audience, and what you say, people are going to see. Some people may just scroll past it. Some people may stop and look at it. I'm amazed sometimes. You know, like my live videos. This guy here is a friend from grade school, and he's saying amen to my little 4-minute on the fence thing. So, you know, I mean, you never know who you're reaching with your post. Okay, and now when I say reaching, you could be reaching them with good things. You could be reaching them with bad things. You could be reaching them with whatever. So here's a touchy subject: politics. Politics. All right. Now, you go look at my page. You're going to see that probably for about almost 2 years, I haven't really said hardly anything about politics on my page particularly. Now, I may do a video where I include something on the side about it. Most of the time, here's the thing. I'm not a big sharer. I'll see something that I think is like, oh, that's kind of cool, or that's interesting, and I'll share it in a message. Like I'll send it to my wife or my cousin, or, you know, I'll send it to whoever I think. I sent one to you, I think, one time. It was something about Mountain Dew ice cream or something. You didn't see it? You can look it up on your Facebook Messenger. So he's a Mountain Dew junkie. Yep, there you go. But anyways, that's, you know, I'll see something like that. I'm not gonna. I mean, what some people do is they'll share it on their wall and then tag the person, which is fine. But you never know when you're sharing something that's like, well, not necessarily that, but like maybe there's something in the name of the page, or maybe they've got other stuff or whatever. And so when I do a private message, I do it with the understanding that the person receiving it knows that I don't endorse that page, and I'm not, you know, I'm just saying, hey, look at this video, you know. So if I post it on my platform, so let's say, you know, let's say, and this is not far-fetched, okay? Let's say somebody posts a picture of a Bible open with this, where's that? That's 2 Chronicles 7:14. What it's 2 Chronicles, right? If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sin and heal their land, something like that. Let's say they post that. It's a Bible open. They got that, or maybe it's that revival picture that I have at the top of that revival page or whatever, and somebody posts that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to share that. And then I share it, and then somebody says, did you see who posted that? And say the page is like, you know, something satanic, whatever. That's not far-fetched. There's all kinds of crazy pages that post like good things, and I wouldn't want to share their good post with everybody because I don't want to be associated with them. So it's, you know, it's that's the thing. And so sometimes you'll have stuff where the title of the page is like cussing, and, you know, and then and that happens a lot. I've had a bunch of preacher friends have an apology post saying, I'm sorry I posted that earlier. I didn't know that there was profanity in the title, you know. So that's how I just keep out of that, is I just don't share stuff. I don't post it like that. So if I'm sending something to my wife, I'll say, pay no attention to where this came from. Just listen. She knows that. But if I'm sending a private message or whatever of something that I thought was neat, then there's other ways of doing it too. Like if somebody posts a picture, like Melissa posted this picture of Barnabas on Thursday, you can actually right-click on the picture and say Save Image. Now, of course, you can get in trouble with copyright if it's like a, professionally done, whatever. And this is a professional photography picture here. At least it looks like it on my computer screen. It doesn't look too good on the wall up there, but anyways, so that's you want to make sure that you use your platform for the glory of God. You want to make sure that you remember it's a platform and know who you're reaching, and consider what you're going to say. And sometimes it takes just a little bit more thought. Like if I'm going to get on there and say I'm going to say something about, some of this stuff I don't even want to bring up on a live feed video, but like say I want to, say Merry Christmas. Okay, I have some preacher friends that if they see me say Merry Christmas, it's going to be a fight. I mean, they're going to they're taking the gloves off and they're on the comments on that post. It's going to be like, let's go. I don't want to mess with that. So if I do post something like that, I just change my platform so that I'm only trying to reach the people that I meant to see it. You know what I mean? People that I'm not going to have to argue with over it. So some people say, well, why even mess with that? Just don't be friends with them. Well, I mean, I have lots of friends that I disagree with on one particular thing. And maybe that thing isn't an issue for me, but it's an issue for them. So something that I believe scripturally is okay, but they believe is wrong. Well, I'm not going to cause a stumbling block to be laid before them. So most of the time, I just don't post anything, that would do that. Sometimes, so I consider my platform, who am I, or my audience, who's going to see this, and what's it going to do to them? What's it going to cause them to do? So when we think about that, well, put the gospel out there. Who's going to see it? Everybody in the platform, or everybody in the audience that you select. Who's going to pay attention to it? Well, that's their choice, right? Are you going to have arguments? You might. Then you decide, okay, next time I do this, that particular person probably doesn't need to be in the audience. And so you can set things where that's the way it works. So sometimes, like I've done that before, where I've made a post and I had a certain group of people that I didn't have in the audience, and then I found out later that like it changed all of my posts, not all of the ones before, but all the ones after that. Like everything I was posting after that, they weren't seeing it because for some reason I didn't switch back the audience. So just, when you do post something, you check, make sure your audience, I've got friends here as the audience, so you can, make sure you know who you're talking to. Okay. And I brought up politics. I don't argue politics on Facebook. In fact, I haven't even really done any candidate supporting. Actually, I guess I did last spring. I did support Ted Cruz for the primaries. I didn't get into a bunch of, fighting over it or anything. I just, hey, he said something cool. That's how I endorsed him. He said something cool, share. I made sure that I was sharing the right thing and whatever. But so there are some things that I'll do that with. Again, you just have to know who your audience is. You have to know what the what's the word I want to say? You got to know what the response might be, or at least consider what it might be. And then sometimes you just don't know, and so you do it, and then you find out, right? Then you start having some response, and you start having people saying this and that. And what I do, like, is people can comment on your posts. And so when somebody comments on my post, profanity, I'll usually send them a private message and say, can you edit that to remove the profanity? Edit that comment to remove the profanity. If they say no, or if they don't respond within a certain amount of time, I'll just delete the comment. But that's just I do pay attention to the comments. There will be a time, though, probably at some point, like on the public figure page or whatever, if it grows, the audience grows, and there's a lot of comments. When you get over 25, 30 comments on a particular post, at some point you're just kind of like, who's going to sift through all those comments? Some people will, though. There was a time when I used to debate doctrine on Facebook, and I spent way too much time doing that. Way too much time doing that. And after that, there was a time when I would troll doctrinal debates on Facebook. And so I would go somebody would post something and tag like 100 people on it, and start a doctrinal discussion, and then there would be 50 different people contributing just back and forth, but what about this, what about that, what about this, and it would just go on and on and on. And I've had some posts that I've read the comments. I mean, you're talking 200-300 comments, and it's like, what's that? Yeah. And next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, what am I doing? Am I bettered by this conversation? Have I understood the doctrine better? Or have I just read a bunch of arguing back and forth, for 6 or 7 hours? So it's kind of like getting on a forum and seeing that. So you have to be careful about that as well. So when you get when you get into those things, again, you have to ask yourself, what's the purpose? Am I trying to use my time wisely and use it for the glory of God? And some people use Facebook for business. That's very, very useful. You can use, especially if you have a public page, you can use that. You can put advertisements, and that's a whole other discussion, really. I guess I can mention it just quickly on the advertisements and stuff. So if you have, like, say, for example, you have a page that you run. Wow, there's an ad right there. Guy getting hit by a snowball. That's pretty good video there. What's that? Right. Well, so like you can go on this is my public figure page. You can go on there and you can create an ad. I'll have to look at that and show you. If anybody's interested, if you got a business that you're using Facebook for and you want to do an ad, you have to have a page for the ad. So when you set up the page, then you start doing, here's publishing tools, I think it's under that. So when you set up the page and you want to do an ad to get people to go to the page or go to a page where they say, for example, I think like for your Forex or whatever, if they're able to sign up online, like on your site online or something, you can actually have an ad that shows up for a certain demographic. Say you're only looking for certain people that have been looking at certain things. You would be amazed how detailed they have the advertising for Facebook. I've done ads on Facebook for different things, and you can actually, like, you can drill down to a certain area, like location, or you can say anywhere in the world, but only the ages, 25 to 30. And you say only males, or like those shaving ads or whatever. Or you can say people that have recently looked up the following categories or viewed the following categories of videos. You can select, just all the way down. And so what it does is it actually gives you the ability to focus down to the point where you're only reaching the audience that you want to reach with the ad. And so when they click on it, it's because they're actually interested instead of just in general, what's that? Click, and then you just paid for a click, So instead, because when you have a general audience that's not necessarily interested, they may see a picture that's interesting and they click on it and they're like, oh, that's that? I don't want that, So you can actually have the stuff that they've been recently looking at. If they've been looking into markets or been looking into things like that, you can kind of, or investing or whatever, you can tailor the ad to that point. And it can be very useful. So on publishing tools, this shows me the posts that I've posted. This was just about an hour, 2 hours ago. Tells me how many people it's reached, how many people have clicked on it. This was an auto post that came from YouTube, a couple of those that popped in. And then, it'll basically give you basic details on that. If you didn't know, you can also schedule posts. Like I can schedule a post for the future and say, I want to say or update or put a video on or whatever at a specific time of the day. So like say I'm messing with Facebook, and this is for pages only. You can't do it on your personal page, but at least I don't think you can yet. So say I want to post something that I want a bunch of people to see, and so it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm typing something out. And I'm like, not very many people are on Facebook right now, or maybe there's more people on there at 2 o'clock in the morning than there are during the day. I don't know, but maybe my audience may be asleep right now, so let's have this pop up at 10 a.m. And so I can schedule the post to come up at 10 a.m. So you can do that, and then you can check videos, and then lead ads, forms. You can create forms and stuff for ads. I don't know what this canvas thing is. So, anyways, some of this you can kind of click around and mess with those things. You can use Facebook for business. Again, remember, what is our purpose as Christians? The Great Commission. We're trying to reach people with the gospel, and then see, when they get saved, we're trying to, and with it being multimedia and social media and broad-based all over the world, the second part of the Great Commission sometimes can be difficult because now, somebody in Africa got saved from your post. Now, are you going to go to Africa to baptize them? You're going to ship them over here and have them join the church here, So that's the difficult part that has to be dealt with. And so, what it does is it helps you get connected, because you may have somebody, say a missionary nearby there. Say we find somebody in South Africa, get saved, and we connect them with the Roberts, our missionaries there in South Africa. And so they baptize them and join them up to that church, and they continue the Great Commission with them through discipleship and teaching them to observe all things whatsoever Christ has commanded us. So that's our purpose. Now, everything else that we do ought to point to that in some way. Of course, business, we're providing for our families and for ourselves and whatnot, to be able to have the platform to reach people. That should help. I was going to get into Twitter today. We'll probably wait on that until next week. But any questions or comments on Facebook? This will probably be our last session on Facebook, unless something else comes up that I need to really address. Yes, sir. Well, if it was on the news, yes, it's out there. So say you posted something, and so I'll give an example. Well, no, I don't want to give that example. I'll give a different example. So let's say Travis posted something, and Corey says, "Hey, I saw this post that Travis posted, and I think it was not a good idea. I think he shouldn't have posted it or whatever." And then Travis says, "I didn't post that." Corey says, "Yes, he did." Corey took a screenshot of it. Now it's permanent, even if Travis deleted it. It's permanent. So, whenever you put something out there, anyone in your audience has the ability to save it for future use or whatever, for whatever reason. So I would say that when you post something, expect that it is always there. It's, even though you may delete it, it's always there. Yep. Yeah. Well, it doesn't notify them, but like if you delete a comment that somebody posted, then it goes away. Now, if it's on a public figure page, I found out it goes away for everybody else, but I can still see it. It's just grayed out. Kind of weird, but no one else can see it. And if they go on there to see it, they can't see it either. So that's you know, if it's on your page and you posted something and they commented and you delete the comment, it just doesn't show up anymore, so people can't see it. The other thing is, if they have their privacy locked down, like super strict, somebody comments on your page that's friends with you, you'll see it, but your friends won't see it unless they're friends with them, which is kind of weird sometimes, because sometimes people are talking back and forth in comments, and you're like, who's this person talking to? Because you don't see the other side of the conversation. But that's how it works. I have a preacher friend. Well, I guess he's not a friend anymore, but not my choice really. But because of somebody I was friends with, he blocked me. I'm like, you think everybody I'm friends with on Facebook I agree with? You know, whatever. So he blocked me, and so anytime he says something in a post to any of my friends, I don't see him on there. And I'm like, he's like, you need to like unfriend this person or I'm blocking you. I'm like, I mean, maybe something that I say is going to reach this person. Now, it was another preacher that I was friends with. Now, I have to say, though, that not all the preachers that I'm friends with on Facebook are in agreement with the things I teach or the things that I do, and I'm not in agreement with all the preachers that I'm friends with on Facebook. In fact, there's a lot of independent fundamental Baptist preachers that are dead wrong on some stuff, but I'm still friends with them on Facebook. Doesn't mean that I'm in agreement with everything they say. So, anyways, yeah. They can. Yeah, there's stuff called clickbait, where it's like, you wouldn't believe what happened next. And then you're like, curious. You're like, what happened? And you click on it, and then it's an advertisement for something stupid, or it breaks your phone. Ah, yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful what you click on. And a lot of, I mean, so whenever there's a post, so like for example, like this, for example, this is a post that I did. It's a link, so it gives you a website in the link somewhere. You got a website somewhere. If it doesn't seem to be reputable, don't click on it. You know, right? It's not always a bad thing, but the other thing is, you may not know the website, but you may know the person that posted it. If you're curious and you're concerned about clicking on it, you don't want to click on it and get into whatever. Send them a private message and say, "Hey, I saw this post on there. What, you know, I just want to make sure that if I click on it, I'm not going to get myself in any trouble." Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Are you talking about his son? Yeah, his younger son? Okay. I don't know. Right. But probably hire somebody to watch it for him. You had a question? You had a question? No? You raised your hand when he did, so okay, okay. Any other questions, comments real quick on this? Yes, sir. Yeah, don't download anything from Facebook unless you know what it is and you meant to. You get in trouble. Yeah. Yeah, you can get in trouble. Now, I've done, like, I've got a timeline in my office that I downloaded, but it was, I went to the website, I looked at it, I knew what the website was. If you know what it is, then fine, but if you don't download something that you aren't sure about. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Sometimes you do things like that and you didn't know what you're doing, and huh? It depends. Some emails, it automatically, yeah, if you open it, it automatically, like a worm or virus or something will come through. Um, so yeah, if you don't even know where it came from, don't even open it. Yeah, that's why I use Google, because they're pretty good about blocking stuff like that. All but one of my emails, I think, is Google. Yeah, I've got 6 email accounts that I've got set up on that thing. I think I have another one too somewhere. Um, I'd have to look on my phone, but I've got a bunch of different email accounts, and all of them are Google based except one, and the one that's not is it's a corporate email, so they kind of block stuff. So I don't use Yahoo because they get hacked like nobody's business. So Yahoo, they get hacked like nobody's business, and you send emails that you don't even know you sent. My wife had Yahoo when we first got married, and and even after, for a while, she got a Yahoo account thinking that, oh, they might have fixed everything, and still everybody, if you have Yahoo, don't have an address book in there, because if I don't know how it happens, but people send out drug advertisements and all kinds of stuff, and like you sent it, and then you get an email from you know so and so saying whatever, and you know so that's true. That is a good way to do that. Fake email address in your address book. Yeah, as long as nobody sets up an email like that. But like I am fake at nobodysbusiness.com or something. Yeah, that's a good idea. Any other quick questions, comments? We'll take a break before our morning service. All right, let's pray. Father, we thank you, Lord, for the privilege of being able to serve you, and we thank you for giving us various platforms on which to reach people. We pray, Father, that we'd use those wisely, and that we would uh, do what we do with our might, that we would consider the consequences of things that we say, and plan things because of that. We just look forward to your blessings on the service to come in Jesus' name.